past, it was completely hopeless. Like, I didn't have anything to live for my whole life. I grew up, in an abusive home, in poverty and everything, My life just seemed hopeless. And the way I lived my life, in high school, it was very sinful, and I would try to hide, behind a smile or whatever. But inside of me, I was always hurt. And then, there was the time where this one girl, she introduced me to Christ, and I just laughed at it. I was like, God cannot forgive me. God cannot forgive me, But then, she persisted, and then I got invited to a Christian conference, and there they spoke about, the relationship with God, how as a young woman, we need that relationship with Christ to be made whole. And so I remember that day, all I could do was just cry and just talk to God. Like, for the first time ever, I talked to God, and it was just so wonderful to feel like it's something really undescribable. Christians always say, we have an experience with God, but it's truly undescribable because He moves in us in different way. I know that at that time, even though there was still a lot of stuff happening in my life, in my family, there was such a joy in my heart. Like, I knew I had hope that God was in control. And like, I knew that as I talked to God, through prayer, that He was listening. It was like, talking to my dad. Like, I grew up, my dad lived at home, but he was never there for me, if that makes sense. And, when I would talk to God, it was like I could feel His presence.